Morning, everybody. I am Michelle with Fun in Key West, and welcome back to another episode of Wondering Wednesday. So today we're wandering, but we're also wondering. I've had people ask, so Michelle, how far is Tampa from Key West? I'm going to be in Camp Tampa, and I just want to pop down and see Key West. Well, the short answer, as the crow flies, it's about 270 miles. If you're driving, it's 420 miles. But if you're able to take a flight, it's a short hop. It's about an hour-ish flight from Tampa. So if you are in Tampa and you have a few extra days that you want to be able to explore Key West, it is absolutely doable. If you're driving, like I said, it's about 420 miles and it can be a little bit of a long drive. Your standard route is you're going to take I-75 south through Fort Myers, and then you're going to go down to Key Largo, and then take the Overseas Highway, which is about 120 miles from Key Largo down. And it's going to be a beautiful scenic drive. You can take an alternative route and go through Marco Island and explore the west coast of Florida and see more of those coastal views if you want. We have gone through Fort Myers and stayed there and did a trip where then we explored Sanibel Island and all of that. So there's these little side ways that you can go if you wanted to spend a few days just exploring that side of Florida. Obviously, you can stop in, like I said, you could do Marco Island, you can do Fort Myers, you could do Sanibel Island, you can stop in Fort Lauderdale, you can stay in Key Largo so that it's not a whole 1 day trip. You can, in Key Largo, we've talked about this, it's a beautiful spot in the Florida Keys to go snorkeling and just rest and reset. Edgemont Keys near Tampa, and you can maybe explore there on your way up or way back down. But I don't want you to, if you're going to drive, unless it's just you've done it before and there's nothing left for you to see, plan for pit stops. Plan to stop and explore and see Florida, because as you start to drive south, the topography is going to change, the vibe is going to change, and you're going to be able to absorb and get all of those cool little funky nooks and crannies of Florida that we all love to explore. Figure out restaurants along your way that you want to try. I am a big fan of diners, drive-ins, and dives, and so if there are any along your way, you know that those are a place to stop and try out. Plan to hit your coffee spots because, you can't do a road trip without coffee. Anymore, I don't know if you actually need Wi-Fi and places to charge because, you can do all of that in your car. I never even deal with any of those kind of questions anymore because it's like, you can do it in your car. If you flew into Tampa, obviously you can rent a car at Tampa International Airport or places throughout Tampa. Make sure that you understand the concepts of what it is. Figure out how you're going to handle tolls because you don't want to be surprised with any of those toll bills. I'll tell you what, we flew into Lauderdale one time, picked up a car. We were newbies. My mistake, I should have done my research, but we flew in, picked up the car, and as we're driving in, they asked us about the tolls. I'm like, oh no, I'll take the toll thing that you've got. No big. We ended up with something like over $100 and some odd in tolls, and I have no idea how we ended up with that many in tolls because we just drove from Fort Lauderdale to Key West and back. I don't know, it was all the surcharges and the add-ons and all of that. So be careful and know the fine print of the tolls if you're renting a car because you will be going through tolled roads unless you're going to go a really long route and try to avoid tolls. Like I said before, you can fly from Tampa to Key West. There are nonstop flights from Tampa International to Key West International. I think United does it, Silver, all of those have those little puddle jumpers that you can go. It's a great way to see the coastline from a different perspective, and it saves you a lot of time in driving if you're going to do that. You're going to have security, TSA, waiting time. So calculate all that in, and you're more than likely, my recommendation is always this. Just do carry on. It's so much easier. You don't need all that stuff if you're going to Key West. There, I think, are still buses that go from Tampa to Key West, but that seems to me like a very, very long drive. I would prefer to rent a car, but that's my choice. But if that's something you want to explore, there are options. If you want to explore Key West as a cruise port stop, there are cruises that come out of Tampa and on their way down will stop in Key West for a few hours, 4, 6, 8 hours on their way to their destination, usually in the Caribbean or the Bahamas, and then they'll come back. But they usually stop on the way down and not the way back. So that is another way that you can go from Tampa to Key West, is if it's part of a cruise. Just plan your itinerary as best as you possibly can. Don't plan it down to the, like you do your work schedule where it's down to every 30 minutes. Plan some things that you absolutely want to make sure you see, and then have things that, like, if the weather cooperates, I want to see this. If not, okay, I still haven't explored the Everglades. We've driven through the Everglades as we've come up from Key West on back up to Fort Myers and all of that direction. But it was like, I haven't really explored the Everglades, but I can say I've seen the Everglades, if you understand the difference. Just make sure that you are doing it at the pace that is comfortable for you, and you are seeing and doing the things that you want to do. If you need reverse directions, maybe you're driving down and driving back. You drive down and you're going to hit these things on the way down, and then on the way back, you hit the other things. Or if you find something that's absolutely fabulous that you want to do and try again, do it on the way back too. That is the short and quick response to the question of how far is it from Tampa to Key West? Well, it's a little over 400 miles if you drive. It's an hour-ish if you fly. And I hope that if you are in Tampa, that you have the opportunity to sneak away to Key West, because what better way to do that than is to either drive or fly. I hope that you have had a chance to head over to FunInKeyWest.com, check out all the other information. Where to stay, where to eat, where to drink, things to do. And oh, by the way, did you know you can book with some of our absolute favorite travel partners right on our website? No extra cost to you. We bring in those links so that you can see some of the ones that we really enjoy working with. We do get in a little commission. I need to disclose that, but it's absolutely no cost to you. And as always, we appreciate all of the support that you guys have. Sign up for the newsletter, and that keeps you in the know. And as always, I appreciate you stopping by for another episode of Wandering Wednesday. You guys have a great one. Talk to you later.